Meantime, you guys have been waiting on this inside the lounge via YouTube Live, listening to, we've been talking at great length about the wide receiving room, the offensive production, what we expect from that position this year for the Colts, and the guy that we count on the most is joining us now via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, Michael Pittman Jr. of the Colts with us. Hey, Michael, thanks for the time. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I could not be better. Fantastic to have you on the show today. The first thing that came to my mind is, do you like having these joint practices with other teams during this time of training camp?
I think it's cool because it's kind of like a opportunity to just compete, and it gets fiery and hot because it's team on team. So it's always fun to just have that fiery, competitive aspect to it.
I love it today. You lit a little bit of a fire today. I dig it, Michael. Honestly, I dig it. You know what's funny about that? You're looking for a lot of things in terms of really recreating what you're going to see during the season. And hell, that back and forth with you and Okuda earlier today, that's just part of it, right?
Oh yeah. No, that's just part of that competitive, fiery, just nature, of the joint practice. Now, there's no type of hard feelings or nothing. Everything that happens out here stays out here. And then once we get off the field, I'm just Michael, the chill, cool dude that likes to joke around and have fun. But on this field, I'm trying to rip your face off.
Well, I know that's what Colts fans love about you too, and the fact that you can separate that moment and then kind of move on from that moment, man, that makes it even better for you. It's Michael Pittman Jr. on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So how are things going for you in camp so far, all in all?
Oh, yeah, everything's, going good. Offense is, doing good, and we're, getting better, every single day. And we're just taking it just day by day and giving it everything that, we got.
Early signs for you. How's that connection going with your new quarterback and Matt Ryan thus far?
Awesome, man. Matt is just such a great guy, leader, quarterback, everything. And we've just been fortunate to get good guys coming in here. Even though we've had three guys in 3 different years, but every single one of them have been great guys and great players and just really good captains and leaders. So I've just been blessed with that.
Well, here's what's amazing, and Michael Pittman Jr. joins us as you're 3-3 in your career here in Indy, but you have adapted and raised your game, and I'm assuming you're coming in this year, this is exactly what you expect to do again. And you know what, Michael, that's kind of difficult to do, to have your third quarterback in your third year in the NFL, but man, you just kind of move on and move on and move on and continue to raise your game.
Absolutely. We bring in such high level guys that it's really not that hard, because you go from Phil, who was a Hall of Fame player, to Carson, who was a Super Bowl champ, to Matt, who was probably another gold jacket guy. So the Colts have made it easy for me, really. It really isn't that hard because we've had a bunch of great quarterbacks.
How good was it? I want to go back to Phillip Rivers with you for a moment, too. Was that a great way to introduce you, Michael, to the NFL, having Phillip Rivers as a quarterback? And you could see at the end of the year, man, he was really zoning in on you. He had a great deal of trust. Did that help you evolve as a player in your rookie season?
Absolutely. Phil was just so awesome. I think that the best thing about Phil is he just demanded the most out of me, and that just made me just want to work harder and harder because you have a guy who played, I think Phil did 16, 17 years, something crazy. So I just tried to be my best for him. And I heard a ton of "Dadgummit, Pitt" all year long. That was his favorite catch line. As soon as I did "Dadgum, Pitt," I was like, "Oh shoot, I messed up."
So wait, Dadgum Pitt was the sign that you weren't in the right spot, right? Back then?
Yes.
Wait. Now, I'm not suggesting you've been in the wrong spot with Matt, but has there been any dialogue to where you can tell that that's kind of the same way he is utilizing you with his leadership quality at quarterback?
Absolutely, absolutely. And, like, that's all stuff that you want him to do. Like, you want him to feel like he can, like, not, like, call you out, but, like, call you up to, like, be like, hey, that wasn't right. Like, we need to do it this, and we need to do it the right way, and, like, we need to get it right now, you know? So, like, the way that Matt does it, like, is, like, really great. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's Michael Pittman Jr. on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Great numbers a year ago. I'm sure you want to raise the bar. That's your expectation. Do you have any goals? Do you set any goals? And I'll give you a little bit of insight. I talked to Jonathan Taylor a couple weeks ago, and he said, listen, all I want to do is win for this team no matter what happens. And I'm sure that you're the same way, but have you set any production-wise goals for yourself in year 3?
yeah, so I have my goal sheet printed out, and it's like hanging up. And I got lots of goals, honestly. Like, I could sit there and read off like 20 goals, but pretty much like my main goal is to help this team win conference and then just a world championship, really. So, you know, I mean, we go AFC South to AFC to Super Bowl, and that's like my main goal.
Is that motivation? You look at that thing every day and say, all right, this is what I'm going to zone in on. I'm going to focus in on this a little bit more today. Is that something you look at? It gives motivation to you?
Absolutely, because I feel like I have such high goals that I can't really waste like any days. So like I got to go hard every single day to basically get where I am trying to go.
It's Michael Pittman Jr. on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So compared to a year ago, give me a couple of things that you absolutely are focused in to work on to be better at in year number 3, better than you were a year ago here.
Yeah, I think my number one thing is just keeping hands off me because sometimes, like, when I'm just, like, running routes, like, I kind of just, like, let those hands sit there because, like, I'm running so hard and trying to push, like, so hard that just, like, I just don't feel it. So I'm just trying to be more, like, in tune with that, and then, like, that's going to help me create more, like, separation, like, at the top of routes and just get more open.
It's Michael, you're an absolute for me, especially in the pass catching department for this team, this offense right now. You're an absolute, and there's some question marks just because guys have not performed at the level, or have yet to be given the opportunity to perform at the level on which you are right now. But help me out and help the listeners out right now. The pass catching group in that wide receiving room or the tight ends. What do you like about what you see in your teammates, and how quickly do you think they can evolve into guys that we also expect, just like we expect from you game to game?
Absolutely. I mean, we have everything. I mean, we have size, we have speed, we have strength, we got smart guys. I mean, like, I really just think that our crew just needs a chance because, like, like, most of our guys, like, haven't really played a ton of games, but once they, like, start doing it, then, like, people will, like, start to catch on and see that we actually have, like, something special.
Well, it's funny. I mean, Alec obviously is a rookie, so he hadn't had that opportunity. But the guys around you, from Ashton to Pittman, these guys have all had their moments in the NFL too. They've had a singular, if not more, really good moment. Do you see that evolving into something again that's expected with that wide receiving core?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, like, I just think that it's a game of confidence. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because what separates some other guy who's 6'4", 220 pounds that runs a 4.5, 4.4? Confidence. Like, really, like, that's basically, like, what it comes down to.
All right. I have been proactive in helping 21 get the ball even more. So how active has he been with the wide receivers, in and out of the wide receiver room? How much of a pass catcher do you expect him to be this year?
I mean, I expect him to be more of a wideout than he is a back. So, I mean, like, I think that he's, like, one of our guys now. So,
well, I told him to become one of you guys, honestly, because he does. He's got a skill set that you don't see often around the NFL. I mean, he's not. You described, Michael. You described your teammates. A lot of big dudes, big, strong guys. He's strong, but he's not big like you guys. But he offers something that is different than a lot of wide receivers in the NFL.
Exactly. I mean, man, he's so fast, shifty, mismatch everywhere. I mean, like, honestly, like you could put him on like anybody. You could put him on like a corner. You put him on a bagger. You put him put him on a safety, and he is gonna win. So I mean, just like move him around like as much as just as much as we can.
It's Michael Pittman Jr., the Colts on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Before I let you go, I always ask you about this. How's your social media career doing off the field right now? Is it still pumping?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I kind of took a little step back because of camp and everything, and, like, I just don't have the time and energy to go out and film videos because it's almost like a second job. But, like, we're, like, getting going back up again because we took a second break because we have like our daughter and we wanted to spend time and be private. So then I kind of started about like a month ago. I have some pretty funny like videos out there. I spent like $1,000 like on scratch off lottery tickets, and then I gave like all that money away anyway. So like I just lost a bunch of money, and that's the video.
You find stuff to do. I mean, what's the most interesting? I know you're a new dad, by the way, and congratulations to that. I'm curious. Besides being a father, family guy now, anything interesting in the off season that you became a part of that maybe you took to social media with that we didn't see?
That like you guys didn't see is I am a big fisherman, whether it's fly fishing, saltwater fishing, freshwater fishing, spear fishing. So I actually own my own 23-foot center console boat that I go fishing on, and like I just have a blast doing that.
Where's that thing docked?
That is docked in Huntington, California.
So yeah, you're more of a saltwater fisherman then. See, I'm with you on that.
Big time.
Like I don't know if I could grab a rod and go out to like a lake and catch a bluegill or something, but I could do what you're doing right there, man. That makes it more exciting.
Yeah, so actually this summer I caught a 400-pound blue marlin in Kauai, and then I came back to California and caught a 70-pound bluefin, and just had a blast. So,
did you process that stuff and take it home too, especially the bluefin? Did you take it home?
So, the bluefin, yes. The marlin, they actually kept it because I don't really like to eat billfish, and I guess the fish had gotten a little too hot, and they said that it wasn't going to live, so they actually ended up keeping it and gave it to a bunch of locals.
Oh, now, how many people did it take to help you reel that in? Was it all you, or did you have some help? Was it a team effort?
No, so it was all me. I have it on film, and the film is like 23 minutes long.
Dude, don't let Ballard or anybody see that, because they'll have something in your contract and the next one about it, especially that marlin. That marlin thing can be a little hairy, right? Experience-wise.
Well, yeah, I mean, like those fish like get jumping and then they jump in the boat. It's like you better watch out.
No doubt. It's Michael Pittman Jr. Always a fantastic conversation on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hey, go after those goals this year and have a great time doing it. It's always fantastic catching up with you here in Indy, and we'll do it again over the course of the season, Michael. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you, too.
It's Michael Pittman Jr. on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, one of the better NFL conversations that you're going to find. Seriously. So he's wrestling around a marlin around the Hawaiian Islands. That can be dangerous. That can be dangerous. Man, I tell you what, I'd be all about that bluefin. I dig on seafood. I think you guys know that. I'd be all about that bluefin. No question. So Michael Pittman Jr. on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. If you missed any of that, especially, he had a bit of a back and forth, more than a back and forth, with Jeff Okudah of the Lions in that secondary after a big gain or a big catch earlier today. You can check it out via a podcast, 1075thefan.com. More to come at 239-1070. We're back with you next.